And if we can just check in as usual, popcorn style, with whatever 3 words are coming to you now. This is Hasina checking in from Newcastle, South Africa. Breathing, creating space, newness.
This is Juliet calling in from County Cork, Ireland. Beloved community and happy.
Lisa calling in from Krakow, Poland. Presence, gratitude, open heart.
Suzanne from Switzerland. Sun, rain, and happiness.
Kamala checking in from Kefalonia in Greece. Healing for rising.
Well,
visions and connections percolating.
So Brian in Krakow, and new beginnings, new earth.
wonderful. Such beautiful words. And we just get to flow into the emergence. Peace Week has been so huge, and I know because I saw some of you at the gathering at the Unity Earth call last night, and I thought, oh, everyone's so excited. So let's just go in as we feel like. Anyone who has anything to say. And I see Anya's just come in, maybe. Hi, Anya. Would you like to check in, or do you want to settle? Oh. I think she wants to wait a bit. Okay. All right.
I cannot unmute myself.
Oh, you are unmuted, Anya.
Ah! I couldn't find it on my cell phone. Hello to everyone. I did come a little bit later. I had a call just checking in from a beautiful morning this morning after having a peace week full of miracles. I would say, like miracles. And I came from a retreat in the Alps, so fresh from European eyes, and freshly here with new experiences also, and finding myself in a beautiful shape of deep-rooted female wisdom. So that's where I'm actually here, and feel so connected and honored to be with you all and feeling this sister and brotherhood, and it's such with such ease and grace, and I'm so grateful today.
you. And we were just saying, whoever, wants to check in, or whatever emergent conversation, Peace Week has just been a big, I think it's really been flowing with our lives, and integrating into it. So anyone who wants to share anything, please feel free.
I'm not able to find hands on the cell phone.
Oh yes, please go ahead. But go ahead,
Oh,
Annie.
yeah. So I'm just checking in with what I did. So I'm very pleased to be short term and then really last minute helped by Cara and also by Camilla to get it done, to really place also an event which is very beautiful how it came, because I wanted to do it for my mentor, for the shaman which I'm working for, and I wanted to place something which is including him, but I couldn't get it done. I couldn't get hold of him. I couldn't get him into the space what I wanted to, and then I really changed it into my own mission and went for it. And I felt so many helping hands here. So just it flew just fluently. And then I invited one of my elders, and that's what I really feel as this sisterhood and being in that femaleship, which is also containing man having that energy of doing things together. And then I invited somebody, gave her the opportunity to show up, because she's not a practical, she had not the access to it. And it was a wonderful experience just to open up to the mystery, and going into that mystery and experiencing a safe space in being together and experiencing things for each and everyone and being really in peace. So I'm really grateful and thankful, and also with that struggling and don't getting things done as I thought they could or should be, because I walked the path for somebody else. So you helped me to walk my own path. So that's really what I want to express in words, and it really I'm in a humble state. I'm here in a humble state to know that it is my path, and it is the same path as so many others walked this path, but how each way is so different. And when we look at each other and say, okay, you need help, I'm not the one that is able to, so let's go ahead and let's find something. That's really what I like, being in the sisterhood, brotherhood, being and helping each other. Yeah, so great, thanks.
It's beautiful. I like the theme that you brought up about, it being not as it you would have expected or should be or can be, or, would have been. And that's so when the magic happens, when you just tend to let go of whatever you expected. So I had an experience in our convergence room, which was we had someone with a really indigenous and universe-based perspective, awesome woman. And I hadn't met her before. We were introduced through a friend who's who took the Deep Time Leadership course. So the speaker comes in, and what had happened is she's got a very I'd say a name that, there are quite a few names like hers. And I had Googled her and she had given me a link. So I had the link open, but for some reason, my finger went to the back button. So when it was time to introduce her, I grabbed my phone and I start reading. And I read the first sentence and I think, wow, she's a cartoonist. This woman's really a Renaissance woman, you know? And she went, "You have the wrong Laura Lee." And I wanted the ground to sort of swallow me because I never do that. You know, like people are important, but my finger must have pressed the back button. And so I'm starting there. And eventually I said, "I am so sorry." And I put my phone down and I said, "I'm going to introduce you as I believe I've gotten to know you through our emails." And I started that. And then I said to her, "Now, before I give anyone any more wrong information about you, let's just go into it. You tell us more about that." But we had the most amazing discussion. And she invited Tom and I to her, one of her sessions that she does with ecstatic trance. So that was, it was just a great discussion. When it starts off a little bit, how you don't expect it to, miracles can come out of it. Hi, Robert.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, nice to meet you. Welcome from Peace Days.
Yes, please feel free to check in if you feel ready to do that. We're just discussing all the magic of Peace Week. So would you like to check in or do you want to settle?
Yes, I'm calling in from Uganda, Western Uganda. I'm happy that last week I managed to participate in Peace Week, whereby I attended some sessions and I also attended the concert. And I also had to present my musical instrument that day, of which I think some of you enjoyed that musical instrument. And it was very touching this week to discover how I can love my neighbor, how I can continue doing great work on the ground. The passion which I have that needs me to preserve peace to those people who don't have peace in my community. And I had also to realize that these people without peace, they also one time, they also had peace. So now, me personally, I need to do something special for these people to see that they can also have peace and life in its fullness that brings hope to them. All of us, we are struggling to have life in its fullness, even life here on earth and even life after days. So that is touched me during the Peace Week, and I appreciate all your effort, your courage, your support in the last Peace Week. You really did a great work to show the world that peace should be the priority for everyone in this world. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert.
I got a little bit of your concert before the Stewart Harvest. I had just tuned in for the Stewart Harvest and they were running late, so I managed to watch that video that you shared of the kids playing the instruments. It was so beautiful, Robert. The energy of those children was incredible. It was my favorite part of the evening. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes, thank you very much. And we also do very many things on the ground, very many things, which I didn't have much time to explain because I was given only 2 minutes to talk about. And I didn't have a lot of time to explain, but it was a very pleasure to see that I can present that musical instrument. Thank you.
So what touching or deeply shifting experience, if any, did you feel, or are you still integrating it, or anyone who wants to share?
Well, what came through to me in the middle of Peace Week, and I think it was a culmination, it was a very powerful time from the last from the solstice in June, those 99 days or 100 days, 102 days, was that this I was doing the Peace on Earth game as well as doing the teaming up and juggling, other things as well. And what emerged kind of as an emergent property from this for me was this almost like an archetype, this paxier, to kind of help to show a way forward. That is, it felt like a gift from Divine Mother. It was the perfect balance of the divine feminine and masculine, so is beyond gender for all beings. And it was just like a door had opened to a new possibility, away from the old paradigm of fighting for justice and fighting evil, to recognizing we're all one. We no longer have to play that game of the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, and justice or injustice. That as we start to see the divine spark, the sacred in every one of us, we realize that we're all one now, coming together, and that it's a welcoming back home. And it was quite mind-blowing because it was quite intense, and it lasted for a few days. It just kind of infiltrated many other things. And another another interesting thing was yesterday I took a page out of Amelia's book. In the morning, it was howling gales and huge rainstorms. So I thought, yeah, I think she's got a good point, rather than, because, one often the reaction is to huddle from the storm and wind. So I just took off all my clothes, went out on the balcony and danced with it. And it was following Amelia. And it was so freeing, and it was so much feeling that the oneness, as opposed to the storm out there and the sheltering myself in here. It was just a fun experience. And the whole week, thank you. I'm just so humbled by the whole week. I think it feels like we are congealing, where we are starting to find each other and find how we can fit into where we find our unique roles, because each one is so unique and so precious, and how we can start to integrate together into the beginning of this oneness. And we're kind of emerging into that. So thank you all so much. It's been a very sacred journey.
Thank you, Juliet, for always just, every time you speak, it's like a piece of my heart finds expression. It's so beautiful sharing space with you. Um, all of that spoke to me on so many levels. But what I want to say thank you for the most is that description of dancing in the rain, because we've also had storms here and I did the exact opposite. I just like pulled all the plugs and curled up under the blankets with a book, and I was just like, I'm not doing today. This is not happening. So that perspective was very welcome. And yeah, next time it rains, I'm going outside. I don't think ripping my clothes off is going to work so well with the neighbors, but I will go out and dance in the rain.
You're on a private island, and you should be able to find a space.
Yeah.
So I'd like to share the beauty I felt in this connectedness of feeling peace. So all the different programs Brian and I were part of, it was not just what is peace, it was more, what does it feel like? So I felt so nurtured and inspired, and I think it's very hopeful that there is this tribe around the world that I feel everyone does its work where they feel called to, and it's more than the active steps that are needed, but it's also that everyone, I feel, emanates the inner peace, and that it's like a ripple effect, first through the 99 days, and now it accumulated to the Peace Week, and it will continue to ripple out. And what a beautiful, rising in a way of greater peace and love, and hopefully will be more and more an antidote to the not peace energy that's still in the world. So in that way, I feel still very held by that, and like I think there's an empowerment within it. It's like there are many, I'm not sure how your journey was in the past, but I felt sometimes, oh, I'm alone with it. But in the previous years, even, and I think what I just experienced the last 2 years, it's more and more visible, maybe through COVID even, that we connected online. We have this network visible, and I so much love it. We have from Africa and Nigeria and Europe and all around the world, this web, the unseen web of love and compassion and inner peace that accumulates to compassion with the rest of the world and to compassionate action. So I think that's the pearl that I'm still holding in my heart. And so thank you. That I was part of it, and I'm still part of it. Even, I'm not so often here in this Thursday group, but today I had the space and like to share that. So thank you.
Maylin has come. Awesome. Hi, Maylin. Would you like to check in, or would you like to just settle for a while? You're unmuted if you want to say something.
No, I wanted to say hello and I couldn't hear you. I had to adjust my Zoom, but I'm wonderful to see you all.
You too. Well, you're welcome to check in if you feel like and just say what's going on in your world. We haven't seen you for so long, and it's a pleasure to see you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy, peaceful. I don't know, things are changing in the world and I feel it and I sense it and it makes me just comfortable and I go with the flow. That's how I am today.
It's awesome. Yeah. Anyone want to share what they, those of you who were on the Unity Earth call yesterday, just want to share your feelings, your impressions, anything that struck you? Or more about Peace Week, wherever you want to start, it's fine. Yeah, sure, go. Come on.
So yesterday I was feeling a bit meh, and so hubby was off and he said, okay, let's just go down to Alpestoli, that's the bigger village, and said, yeah, let's just get out of the house. So we went down and went to my favorite shop that's called Down the Rabbit Hole, and the woman makes some really interesting jewelry, and she's a really lovely person. And whenever I go down there, I always stop and say hello to Karen. And my husband bought me a ring. I'm going to turn off my background so you can see it. It's an amethyst, and it's very pretty. It's
Oh,
so the stone in the middle, there's the amethyst. And then I don't know if you can see around the edge at the top, it's got 5 little empty teardrops. So, and the number 5 for me with the pentacles is symbolic of the 4 elements and the human spirit combining and all of that. So it was just this perfect setting for exactly the crystal that I needed, and all of the things kind of fell into place. And then we got on that call last night, and I was sort of lying in bed half asleep, just listening to what was going on and typing a little bit in the chat. And then Dana started doing those vocal sounds, and I could actually feel a tingle from my finger. I could feel the energy pouring into that amethyst. It was like the amethyst was charging itself through the sound. The energy was just so powerful. And, yeah, it was just magic. And for me, that was just like the representation of what this whole week has been. It's been everything falling into place with the perfect energy from the perfect people at the perfect time. And it's, on the one hand, it's just this fantastic feeling of coming home. But then I end these calls and I go back to the rest of the world, and I don't know, I'm just trying to find some balance. I don't know how to reconcile real life and virtual life. My son and I tease each other about our online friends, because we both do that. We both have these amazing connections with people from other continents even. And, but in real life, here in this physicality, it's the 3 of us and 2 other people that we see maybe twice a month, and 1 neighbor that's sort of, we'll have a cup of coffee every now and then and just sort of wave at each other across the road kind of thing. But that depth of in-person feeling that I had in South Africa, you know, when I had my tribe in my physical space, when I could, you know, when I was hosting survivor support groups in my home once a month, and we'd have this gathering around my dinner table or my kitchen table, you know, and it was this legendary thing, you know, everybody looked forward to gathering around my kitchen table, and we'd have coffee going and everyone would bring a little snack. It was like an in-person feast for peace, you know, and I miss that. I miss that limitless, you know, you could sit there. Some people would end up spending the night, you know, they'd come for a session and then, you know, we'd bring out a bottle of wine and everybody else would leave and 2 or 3 of us would sit talking till ridiculous hours of the morning in person, you know, and when we shared, we could reach out and hug each other or, you know, stroke somebody's hand when they were sharing something deep, you know, that pure physical reality of this energy with another human being in that space without that, oh, I'm going to have to turn off the Zoom at the bottom of the hour kind of feeling, you know, and what comes next. And I don't know how to build that community in a country where I don't even speak the fucking language. You know, it's just, I don't know. There's so much peace coming through my computer screen, and there's so much detachment the moment I turn off the screen, and I just don't know how to reconcile the two. Sorry, I went on for a bit.
I'd just like to say, well, first, I'm holding space, but I don't need to say that because I feel what you're saying. I feel exactly the same way. I mean, I'm in this beautiful town, city, whatever you want to call it. It's got a small town feel. I mean, yesterday I went to fill the car and Shamima and I just went to park at the garage, and the courier guy, really the company's called the courier guy, but the driver actually saw us there and he was meant to deliver it to our home. And when he saw the car, he recognized it and he ran up to us and he goes, "What's your PIN number? I can give you your parcel." And you know, you see people and people are there. If you need something, you know who you'd phone or whatever. And in spite of that, because of how I've grown, you know, so that I'm in a place where I'm with all you amazing people, and I can't find any commonality. And there are 1 or 2 people we don't get to see each other often because we're like everyone's busy. So yes, it is my family and I, and everything's online. My partner's online at the moment. So you know, it is, Kamala, I do feel you. And as for reconciling it, I think I just take the spaces and you know, the peace that I feel there, I kind of just evolved to my way of being. And I don't just see human beings. What's come into my experience is, and I want to do this more, like communing with creatures and communing with air and with water and so on. And it's not the same, but just making peace with it and just feeling like, okay, this is right now. And then feeling that feeling of laughter and, you know, togetherness, just bringing that feeling back. So that's what works for me, and I don't know if that helps, but looks like Brian had some words of wisdom.
Well, I don't know if this will be wisdom or not, but I'll just get into acknowledging this group and the beauty that we bring in our community and in our lives. And Carmilla and Asina talking about this is what brings me to want to also speak. And Lisa and I, in our community in California, we basically were producing peace events, compassionate support circles, numerous gatherings with neighbors and friends, and a real sense of being together. And so when Camilla, when you were describing this global Zoom family and what it's like to connect together like we're doing right now, you know, at 11:30 we hit, well, 11:30 in Poland, when we hit that leave the group, there is this feeling, because we too are living in a foreign land where I don't speak Polish. Lisa's learning Polish, and so she's kind of, when we're out together, she's really my guide, because she can connect with more people than I with the native tongue here. But yes, it is this transition, and Hasina, you described how you're integrating it, and you know, obviously by living with an open heart, living with compassion for all beings, you know, looking at what is it like in the shoes of the other. You know, this is really what connects our hearts together and has us really feel that this is our purpose, this is our mission, you know. So whether we have a banner or not, we have an energetic field that we bring with us, whether it be online or outwards. And Juliet, I haven't been dancing outside naked, but I have in our apartment, and there's just such a great feeling, because I don't recall ever dancing naked around in all the other homes I've lived in. So maybe we're on the third floor of this building, and that gives me a greater sense of freedom to connect with. Anyway, just a little funny point. But I want to share, last night, Lisa and I had a friend back in Ojai, that the three of us were really a team in creating Day of Peace celebrations in our community. And last night I had a 2-hour talk with this third member, and he was sharing of all of the issues that he has in terms of the present team that kind of took over our role, and just, you know, sharing that he doesn't really understand why they can't come to a consensus, and that when actions were agreed upon, that sometimes a certain member wouldn't do what they said, and how challenging that is. So he was really sharing about that, and you know, we kind of being supportive of the debriefing and the follow-up that might help bring them closer together in terms of working efficiently. But then he described something that was really an awakening for him. And that is that they forgave a large event in a performance setting with, hundreds and hundreds of chairs and a stage, and chose to have the Peace Day Festival in the farmers market, to have their program be really as a community space, because that's what the team decided. But here's the thing that I want to get to, and appreciate that I can take the time to get to the point. And that is that he, in his leadership role, is very much a taskmaster. He does what he's going to say, but he isn't a team builder. And this other fellow in the community put together a peace program in this large facility that our former partner in this thought they're not going to get a big crowd for just local musicians. This is a performance stage that has all the name touring performers that fills the place. And so he was kind of holding it as, well, that's not going to happen. And so I'm not going to be involved with it. So the fellow who organized this, he created a phenomenal teaming up with all of the local bands and speakers that he invited, by inviting them to do the social media networking to invite all of their people to come and attend. And he says there was 300 or 400 people where he said, I would just imagine only 50 people would come. And so it was like this shifting. And I know that many of you were participating in the teaming up work. And, just every time I listen to John Raymer talk about the teaming aspect. And so here we are, we're teaming right now. And it's really something that, when you produce your programs in your local community, very often, yes, there's some teaming, but this whole Unity Earth thing, and I have to acknowledge the phenomenal, beautiful souls that have come together, and it keeps getting pushed higher and higher in the techniques, the technical world. So, I went to the concert and it stopped playing. Internet-wise, I couldn't go. Last night, I didn't stay up to midnight, but Ben posted the link and I put it on, and immediately it was like, oh, we can't get the sound on. And it took a while till Gary Melkin could get it started. And then it froze on my device. So anyway, that's my push-pull with these emerging technologies that are challenging to the groups reaching, a magnitude more of people. The intent is, how can we get our message out to the entire world? And so I bless John Raymer because he's educating us, and then this TV team, the studio there, and the amazing thing that Ben and others could travel there to Canada. Yeah, and when I heard that they were doing work that 12 people were needed and there was only 3 of them, you know. So anyway, I'm just very touched, and I'll bring my talk to an end. Thank you for listening to me. Much love to you all. Thank you.
That's beautiful, and it's such a reflection, certainly for me. Um, I'm hearing that, and then it doesn't seem so crazy that when I meet people on Zoom, I forget that I haven't met them in person. It's almost like I know people's background, some of them, and you know what's important to them, and I'm like, oh, we really haven't been together in person. It feels like it.
That's so true, because when I speak to my mom about these spaces, I'll say, my friend Hasina or my friend Juliet, as if, these are lifelong friends that, she should know, like she knows Amanda and Irene that went to school with me. It's like, oh yeah, Cara did this in the Healing for Rising room. And then I have to take a step back and go, oh yeah, wait, I need to explain to you who that is.
And I think in some ways that's the way that we are evolving, because these are just and absolutely as real and as valid as physical encounters and communities and relationships, but they're more subtle. And we're moving from the gross to the more subtle. And I think in this community, we're representing a lot of people who are on that cutting edge of going towards the subtle and moving more into the time of energy. And this is the medium, and then it will become maybe telepathic. It will become more and more subtle. This is the first step, and it's so valid because we're finding ourselves. So we're whether it be in the flesh or whether it be energetic, I think this is a transitional time, and they're all as valid as each other, but we're moving now from the gross, from the 3D, and it's starting to really experience what it is to go beyond that. So it's so beautiful because it's so much less limited than when you're in the physical and you've only got your geographic surroundings and the people who live in it, in which you can create community. And now, I mean, even the next step is interplanetary and galactic and whatever. We're coming into a new possibility, and I think that it's just so wonderful.
This is so well said, Juliet. I'm right behind you. And I would love just to add, we embody who we are, and we are on so many places. I'm here right in front of you, but I'm supporting someone else in my mind. We're healers, we're light beings. We can be at many spots doing many different things at the same time. And we have the attention of bringing and being peace, all of us in this room. And we're there where we need to be. And if we need to be somewhere else, our bodies get moved. Then we can physically be there and physically meet. And sometimes we're impatient, we want it now. But the time also will come. And as you said, Juliet, the stargates, the gates are opening. We're learning to create gates. Travel will be so much faster. And it's just beautiful. And we're all learning what you just told us. And not just us, everyone on this earth. Some faster, some slower. But they're getting a sense of it, of what is possible, and that we're not alone.
On that note, one of the things that I realized during the Peace on Earth game was that in the past, and it's still very, very important. I'm not trying to sideline it by any means. I have a unique role. Everybody has a unique role. But what is open to me, where I felt it was a failure on my part because I wasn't able to physically and geographically create the communities that were being offered for us, you know, the invitation, I suddenly realized, it was in fact only yesterday, the day before, that in fact the power of recognizing that we can befriend the other on such an incredible universal level, because now when we realize the power of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and that if we change all of those to focus in on the divine, the sacred in every person, we can reach Putin, we can reach Trump, we can reach whoever, because we can focus on them, see their beauty, and tell them that they are sacred, beautiful beings, and that they are so loved. And that's all. That's the only message. You don't need to, you can add more if you want to, but the message is to every being on earth, every suffering soul who's in the gutter, every person who's anywhere. We have this reach now, where before we felt we had to go to a place in order to have, you know, the physical interaction to try and help somebody. But this is opening another possibility. It's not by any means negating the other by any means, and we all have our unique role, but it's opening a door for those of us who are being called to that level that is mind-blowingly powerful and beautiful and incredible, that I'd never realized before at all. And this is what, to me, has been opened over these 99 days.
Yeah, I feel like that passes the torch to me, because that, with the ceremonies through inner world peace, that was what I am called to practice, these ceremonies of, that was one of the clear ones, right? When I was like, oh, I think we need to do this, it was like, it was having the child of Putin and the child of Bush meet together and see each other, and not Bush, but Biden, and to see each other as human, as souls, you know, with great purposes, and not the way that they're doing it now. And sort of like, I don't know, and the call was to say, yes, yeah, maybe this is important, this is possible, it's part of the process that in the energetic world, and it leads up into the physical foundation element. And so that then, yeah, to have this group, to have the support that you guys have come with for that vision to manifest has been phenomenal and so important. And the difference between me thinking, oh no, nobody is interested, nobody showed up, to have that old pattern repeat, versus, oh, these 4 people show up every time, and that makes it, and that means, and 4 more people show up, and that makes the group of 7, and now it feels like it's the success, or like it's happening or seen or and appreciated. And that brings me to the next level in my spiritual journey. And so it's invaluable. And I feel like I'm serving and opening. The people who join are benefiting, and I'm benefiting, and then our movement will benefit, and the world. So it's beautiful.
And I'm did you want to say something, Anya? Or oh yes, please. I couldn't tell if you were waving. Oh, mute, unmute. Let me ask you to unmute. There we go.
Thank you. I didn't find to unmute myself on the cell phone. I need help here. So I'm so deeply touched from what our conversation is going into a flow. And I want just to share with you what I experienced in being traveling and coming home. So this being distant and not being at a very place is also an experience which can which I just want to share, because it's just calling me to share that. So one day I came home from a 4 or 5 weeks travel, and I went to the bakery. And on my way to the bakery, I said to myself the intention of I'm back. I am back to serve here. So I rooted myself back home. And then I just met people. Just they recognized me, just a conversation, a call, something like that. So with the set intention, you can root everywhere. So that's what I just want to bring in. And just yesterday, and that's coming also with that being in a far distance and remote and having friends all over, and then just how do I know people? My husband doesn't know anyone in our town here of 2,700 people. So I'm the one that is recognized by each and everyone, by neighbor and this and that. And when I go to the grocery store, I'm just also present. I just enter the store to be present. So I have a little talk with the guy behind the corner or the cashier and everything. And then I stood like totally lost in front of the bread in the grocery store. And then just somebody that came just went by and said, "Can I help you?" And then we just had to talk about burger buns. So something like that. And then out of the blue, she opened up and talked with me about a person that died last week. So we just had a deep conversation in front of the bakery buns. So really just out of the blue. And that's what I experienced when I set the intention that I'm present with all I am. People recognize me and talking with me about their illnesses, their loss, their just that. And then I just listen and give him a hug and walk on. I just want to share that here. So if you set the intention to root and say, I'm here with all what I am, then also help is coming with the buns. So she helped me to take the decision for my buns, and my husband was very lucky. So everything was right. So I have no experience with buying buns. So that's it. And so I helped her with her loss, and that's it. So and we just met and walked our ways. It's not to create strength and more deeply and when we will meet again and our connection and everything. No, just in the moment, and that's it. I experienced the shamanic practice of just coming together and then just walking without any frictions, without any it has to be again like that. So also this is making me free. So I just needed to share that a little bit because it just happened yesterday, and just I set the intention, I'm rooted here, but I can reroute myself in the next pot. I just can do that. And when I'm as I'm present, I really can be everything for everyone. And also the lady that came by helped me with my really practical everyday decision just to buy the bun. And we had a beautiful dinner. So that's it.
Thank you so
thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm just keeping that was very valuable. Thank you. I'm just keeping an eye on the time, so I just want to honor everyone's time by saying we're going to close off now. However, I'd just like to set the intention that whoever we feel called to, just set the intention that there's someone who needs to be here, who feels the same as we've been feeling, and who needs to be in our group. And if that person comes to mind in the next week, or those few people, just invite them.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are a lot of people feeling the way we are. Thank you so much. Suzanne, is there something you'd like to close us out with? Is there something in your heart you feel like speaking? Are you muted?
Yeah, I'm muted. Yes. Thanks for asking. Well, there's so much projects already for next year. I on the table. Anyway, it was a wonderful time this Peace Week, and I doing that the 4th year. So
I'm happy. I'm very happy for you. I'm seeing you how you're blooming, and it's very, very precious for me to bloom, to see bloom others, to raise their shining spirit. That's really valuable. You know, I love people progressing in every way, and we need peace. Otherwise, we cannot go this journey, this spiritual journey. Because of the disruption from outside. Sure, we can go to ceremonies, but it's good to have more peace as part of the journey. Let me see. I learned from an elder of the Mayan tradition, humming. I was on her 13 weeks ancestry finding online. I like to hum. And if you like to join, it centers your spirit and opens up the heart and see what you can hear. So if you like, I hum. I hum. I don't know for how long, but I count it and I stop it like for 2 minutes. Is that okay for you? 2 minutes or 1 minute?
Okay, let's give it a minute, and yeah.
Okay.
That sounds amazing. If anyone wants to unmute, feel free.
All right. Okay, let's start a humming, coming home to yourself and listen whatever you can hear and get in touch and contact.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you, everyone.
Sending love and light.
Love and light.